This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. You know, I came across a clip of Kurt Warner talking, and every day I think about where I am at with the Cleveland Browns. I really do want to double check to make sure that I'm not overreacting to any take that I have. And I was watching this clip and I thought to myself, the same things I'm seeing, the same things I point out in my film breakdowns, the same things I've talked about for weeks here. Especially against the Giants game and in this game versus the Washington Commanders are the same exact things that I'm seeing even the Hall of Fame quarterbacks that comment on the game and comment on the game film specifically say. I want to show you guys a clip that I want to show in its entirety.
And if I was running the Browns, I would make a change at the quarterback position. And I understand all the developments there and the money that you owe Deshaun Watson and what you gave up for him. You just can't win with them right now. And I hate saying that, but it's just the fact is that he's not playing very good football. He's not seeing what's going on. He can be looking right at it. I did a breakdown after week one. And I pulled 20 plays and I could have pulled another 10 plays. So you're talking, 25, 30 plays in a game where I just can't make sense of what he's doing. And, he'll be looking right at this first read and not throwing it. And the guy's open. He'll read something that, again, back to what I was talking about, where you just don't read this concept against cover two, and he's reading the concept against cover two, and maybe they're telling him to do that, and maybe it's a pure progression. But I'm sorry, you got to get past that. You got to work past it. A couple weeks ago, just hearing him in this press conference, they ran what I call a combo concept. It's just a slant and a flat. A combination that I teach my high school quarterbacks when I was playing a combination that I've run a trillion times in my life. And he's sitting on the podium saying that the coaches told him that the flat part of that concept was a decoy and that he was just supposed to throw the slant. Now, if that's true, that's a whole nother conversation if we're telling him that. Sure. But even if you're telling him that, I would never do that. Like, even if somebody told me to do that, I'm like, Coach, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm going to read the defender out there, and if he covers the flat, I'll throw the slant. If he covers the slant, I'm throwing the flat. But to hear him say that on the most basic concept, that's not even an option for me. If I look over here, I have to throw the slant because that's what I'm told to do. You can't play the position. So there's just so many things that I'm seeing that make me say, what is going on? I don't know. I don't know who he is right now. I don't know how good he can be as a quarterback. But what I know is this Cleveland Browns team is not nearly as bad as they're playing right now. They've got a defense that can win, and they're not going to win with quarterback play like this. And it's been consistently like this for a long time. We've seen glimpses since he's come to Cleveland, but we haven't seen a lot of them. So it's been this way for a long time. And I don't know what we're expecting at this point. Yeah. And I just know that they're not going to win football games, consistently with this kind of quarterback play. And I would think you just have to make a move, even if it's to allow him to step back, get away from all the pressure and get away from the contract and all the stuff that's going on in his life over the last couple of years, and see if you can salvage his career. But right now, it's just really, really bad football.
That's Kurt Warner. It's a Hall of Fame quarterback. I know it's easy for the Browns and Deshaun Watson to deflect and say that we're not in the quarterback room. But some of this stuff you don't have to be in the quarterback room to understand. Some of this stuff you don't really have to have that complex of a grasp on modern NFL concepts to understand. Some of this stuff is just the basics, the fundamentals. Anybody who's expected to throw the ball more than 20 times would be expected to do this no matter what level of football that they're playing. We're talking about two beaters. We're talking about having dagger on the front side and then a corner route on the back side so that your eyes can always be right versus a two beater. We're talking about basic end zone plays, like stuff that has very simple reads that always are simple. It's just simple football that we're talking about that he's not able to perform to. But jumping on and dogging on how bad Deshaun Watson played last week, that's not what I'm here to do in this video. What I want to talk about is, like, think about it. Here's what my whole point is for this. Think about this. If what we are saying was what the greater film breakdown community is saying, if what former NFL quarterbacks are saying, if what former NFL players are saying who watch this tape, hell, even current NFL players. We just had a defensive tackle for the Commanders say that he has to think that this is all mental for Deshaun Watson because he's looking at the film and being like, oh man, I can't believe he didn't hit anybody. If they're all telling you that this quarterback play is bad, think about what the implications are. I know a lot of people want to talk about the other problems on the Cleveland Browns, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how seriously to take these other problems because the quarterback play is so bad. We talk about quarterback play being the great elevator, right? You get a great quarterback, it can take a regular team and take them into Super Bowl contention. Hell, we seen this with CJ Stroud last year, right? CJ Stroud took a Texans team that people were assuming was going to be the number 1 overall pick, elevated them to the divisional round of the playoffs, and now some people think they're Super Bowl favorites. We're seeing this right now with Jaden Daniels. Last year, the Commanders were a joke, an absolute joke, a laugh riot. 5 games into the season, we're talking about could the Commanders come out the NFC? We talk about the quarterback being able to elevate. But hey, if you're able to elevate, and it's true that you're able to elevate, and that's why quarterbacks are paid the big bucks. They're paid more than any other singular position in the NFL on average. By a large margin, quarterbacks are. Wide receivers don't get paid as much as quarterbacks. Edge rushers don't get paid as much as quarterbacks. Offensive linemen individually don't get paid as much as quarterbacks. That's for a reason. It's not a mistake. That is because a quarterback can elevate. He can fix your problems. A great quarterback can make your bad offensive line not matter. Joe Burrow's been having bad offensive lines his whole career. He went to the Super Bowl with one of the worst offensive lines pass blocking in the NFL that year. They were 31 out of 32. And Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl with that offensive line. A great quarterback can elevate you over these problems. But if it's true one way, then it's got to be true the other. These quarterbacks are capable of elevating. The reason that the quarterback gets so much responsibility, so much credit for when the team wins is because they have that much responsibility. Then that responsibility is a two-way street. A quarterback is just as capable of elevating their team as much as they are from bringing them down. It can't just be a one-way street with quarterbacks, right? And right now the Browns have some of the worst quarterback play that we have seen. It's not just me saying it. It's not just Jake Burns saying it. It's not just Corey Kinnan saying it. It's not just people who have been looking at the Browns all 22 for years. It's former NFL quarterbacks who are saying this. It's current players. It's former NFL quarterbacks who are saying this. Former Hall of Fame NFL quarterbacks who are saying this. And if they are right that the quarterback play is so bad right now, that means it's so bad you can't even evaluate if it's the offensive line that stinks, or maybe the offensive line is having to adjust to a quarterback who can't play. I can't evaluate the wide receivers right now because they're open on paper, but that doesn't mean that they're playing well. You got to have somebody throw the ball to them, give them a chance to see what they can do with it. And right now, we're not getting that from the quarterback position. Hell, even some of the stuff with the defense. I don't know how much of the defense's issues this year are because they just don't believe in the offense. And they don't believe in the offense because of the quarterback. Yeah, I don't think Jed Wills is playing great. Yeah, I don't know if DeJuan Jones has played consistent football. I've talked about that on this show. Martin Emerson, I think he's had a bit of a regression. I've talked about that on this show. But I'm going to be honest. I acknowledge those problems exist, but I don't know how serious those problems are until we can get to one of the main issues here, which is the quarterback play. Quarterback play can elevate, quarterback play can decimate. And right now we're getting decimated by bad quarterback play. Can't just ignore it. The Browns can't exist in a vacuum. The quarterback gets paid the most money because the quarterback is the guy who can elevate and have that responsibility. But also, if you have a bad quarterback, it can drag you down. So you want to spend a lot of money to get a really good quarterback to make sure you don't get dragged down. That's why it's hard to evaluate how serious some of these problems are with the Cleveland Browns outside the quarterback position, because unfortunately football doesn't exist in a vacuum. I know a lot of us want to think it does, but it doesn't. The defensive players are well aware of what's going on offensively, and that's going to affect their play. The offensive players are well aware of what's going on with the quarterback position, and that's going to affect their play. I think people get it wrong when people go, they want to bench Deshaun Watson. I don't think most people want to bench Deshaun Watson just because they think that Jameis is going to make the team better. And that might be the possibility, right? Jameis could play better than Deshaun. Deshaun's not playing good at all. So it's not out the realm of possibility that Jameis is better. But also, I think a lot of people just want a fair chance to be able to evaluate this team. And right now, Deshaun Watson is not giving you a fair chance to evaluate this team. I don't know if Ken Dorsey is a bad offensive coordinator or not right now, because I can't evaluate him because the quarterback play is so bad. I don't know if Kevin Stefanski is a part of this problem because Deshaun's playing so bad individually right now. It's hard to discern what is Kevin Stefanski's fault and what is Deshaun Watson's fault at this point. The same thing goes for the offensive line. It's hard to discern, like, whose fault is this sack? Is it Deshaun? Is it the offensive line? Like, what's actually going on here? If you put a different quarterback in there, at least I can tell, okay, that's Kevin's fault. That's Ken's fault. That's the offensive line's fault. Because if it exists with two different quarterbacks, then obviously the problem might be something else. Because if it exists with Jameis and he plays a more traditional style that Kevin's used to and they still can't get this offense going, then now you got to look at Kevin. What's going on with him? Now you got to look at Ken Dorsey. What's going on with him? Because you eliminate some of these variables. Right now, Deshaun Watson is too big of a variable to evaluate anything that's going on. That is why I think it's hard to evaluate the rest of this Cleveland Browns team. I think there's a lot of players not playing well right now, but like, is it because they don't believe in the offense right now? And like, there's an argument that can be made that that's not an acceptable reason for not playing 100%. But that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Y'all have a great day. Have a better night. Peace.